Are you and your partner spread too thin? That's what today's episode is all about. We live in a crazy world where we're super busy, and pretty soon we forget about what's most important, and that's our relationship with our loved ones.
Partners feeling like teammates, emotional, physical intimacy fading, resentment and feelings of loneliness happening.
We're always connected, but in that we are disconnected from our partner. And we're going to help you find space so you're not spread too thin and so you do have a fantastic relationship.
If you can just find 15 minutes of presence with your partner, it can change the emotional tone of your relationship very quickly. Hello, all, and welcome to the Relationship Renovation Podcast. I'm Tarah Kerwin.
And my name is EJ Kerwin. And we have a podcast episode today that
is just our life.
It is our life. We know all about it. We are experts in this field.
Spread too thin.
We are spread too thin, have been for a long time.
When life gets so full and your relationship is last on the list.
Yes. And I think this is like, you know, obviously we're not alone here. I mean, so many couples that we interact with at our counseling center are dealing with this. So many of our friends are dealing with this. You know, we are, you know, in this period of life, you know, from like what, like your 30s till your 60s, right? Like 30 years where there's a lot going on and your relationship is in sort of the middle of it all.
Well, and I mean, it's like if you've ever, like by the end of the week, because our work week is like a Monday through Friday, which I would say is most typical, but not for everybody. But like by Friday, I would be like, I mean, we're better now at creating things. That's why we're doing this podcast, because we want to help you reclaim your relationship. But like we would be at the end of the week, like I don't think I've looked at EJ. Like I don't think we've had any eye contact. We're just like passing.
Well,
we're doing a really good job.
Hug, like a kiss,
right?
A snuggle.
So those are just like some examples of like, wow, you're just missing each other all the time. And we wanted to kind of go through like why it happens, because it happens for many different reasons. One of the first ones is just like cultural societal pressures to work, or we're overcommitted.
Yeah, I mean, I think that whole cultural pressure, it's almost not even like a cultural pressure anymore. It's just like a cultural norm is like, there used to be more balance. So wherever you are on sort of the spectrum of beliefs, it doesn't even really matter because, I mean, before there was always a primary caregiver, you know, and then there was somebody who was working and that created separation. But then economically, we've entered into a place where it's almost, you know, it's almost not viable to not have both people working, you know, with inflation and everything else, as we are in a cultural norm where most families have both people working their butts off. And even if one person is the primary caregiver, that's a heck of a job. You know, they're going, you know, all day long as well. So we just have this norm of where we are just going from literally, with us, we wake up and within 45 minutes, everybody's out of the house and we're going, right?
Right.
You know, so I just think like we fall into this lifestyle of the grind where we are spread incredibly thin.
And the idea of like perfectionism, I know that some moms, I'm like, how does she do it? She's like getting all of the meals ready and she's working and all the kids are, and her husband's like away on business. Like, I'm just like, I'm not doing enough. Like the idea of perfectionism, right? Children, careers, that's going to totally impact spreading too thin. Like you're going to get home from work at like 5 or 6. And how are you feeling after a full day of work?
Yeah, I have a client.
I know I feel exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, I have a client right now who he is just in his job and some stuff that's going on sort of politically in the world where he has really no choice. I mean, he is working 12, 14, 16-hour days. And it's not like he's doing this because he's just like, I'm a workaholic. You know, he is doing it because literally he has no choice right now. He runs a company where there is a huge amount of demand and he just has to do it.
So, so I'm sorry, I'm thinking about all this from like when I was 25 versus 35, just like as we have children, as our parents age, as we have careers, like our responsibilities multiply, right? As we get older and all of that. And so again, it's just like so much happening in our brain and our nervous system that of course, like your relationship is going to take a back seat, but we're here to say like that is not good because we know now that if you have that ability to connect with your partner, even if you are spread too thin, that's some respite care. And we're going to get into that more. But we just wanted to kind of talk about the reasons why.
Yeah. Another big why though is something that is new in the last 25 years or so of life is technology, right?
Yeah.
Is the massive penetration of that. Our phone is this mini computer that is with us that keeps us linked into work, into communication with family, into taking in media, where every little like maybe nook and cranny of our lives where maybe we used to have 10, 20, maybe even a half hour in the car, we're working, we are interacting with people nonstop because our boundaries are so porous when it comes to our technology, and I'm the worst of them with that.
Isn't it interesting? Like we're always on, yet we're disconnected. And I'm just thinking, imagine how much time if we gave the amount of energy we gave to just our technology to our partner.
Well, yeah, what you said there was funny. Like we're always connected, but in that we're are disconnected from our partner.
Okay, so what does that look like in intimate relationships, right? This is why we do our podcast.
What's the cost to this lifestyle?
So I feel like for me and for a lot of couples that come into our center or people that we hear the emails, like we feel like we're teammates but not lovers. Like that part of that one special, unique part of this monogamous relationship is that intimacy.
Yeah.
Yet that kind of fades because we're not putting energy toward it. So a lot of couples feel like, well, we're teammates, we're roommates, but the lovers, we don't feel that way.
We support each other in getting everything done, but not in each other's emotional experience of getting it done. I mean, like this morning was a perfect example of like, we had like 35 minutes to get everybody fed, set up for the day, teeth brushed, everything they need to do, everything we need to do, water the plants, get out of the house, right? And Tara, in the midst of this, was kind of trying to interact with one of our kids in a way of like kind of promoting an aspect of his life that we think, maybe needs some help, right? And so she was doing it and I was hearing her and she seemed like she was doing a great job of it. And I was just like running around the house. I watered the plants and then I came in, I was like, excuse me. And cause she was in front of the sink and I was like washing the dishes. And she's like, you don't think I'm being like mean because I'm talking to him about this? And I was like, no, I was like, I'm just trying to get as much done and for what needs to get done and support you. But I wasn't supporting her in like, honey, I can see that you're really, having this kind of in-depth interaction with our son. I was just like trying to wash the dishes so she didn't have to go and do that after I left.
So I love that you said that because another like consequence of this is that you have these missed opportunities for emotional attunement because like, had you done that, like I can see that you're so anxious around this happening for our son right now. Like, let's check in. Like I would have been like, I would have felt so seen. I totally get it. We were busy. It was like only a 35-minute morning, but that's again, another what it looks like. Like we have these missed opportunities and we'll talk about the hidden cost of what it does. But yeah.
And that feeds into the next one, right? Is so if I'm just getting shit done, and I'm not attuning to what's going on for Tara, and I'm not like having her be seen, right, in whatever it is that she's going through, what's going to happen? She's going to start resenting me. She's going to start being like, man, like not only do I do all the laundry, not only do I help you like run our business together, but I do this other stuff and you're not even, paying attention to it. It's
resentment, loneliness.
Yeah. One of my friends talks about it as the invisible work that we all do. And if our partner doesn't acknowledge the invisible work, that emotional attunement you had with our son this morning, those little things that I do, that you do, that kind of go underneath, but are incredibly important. If we don't see that, take the time to slow down, acknowledge it, big time resentment starts, because it's like, why am I doing all this? What's it for?
Loneliness. Then communication becomes like just logistical. Like, hey, okay, so we get done at 4, and then you're going to pick the kids up at 4:30, and then you're going to do your workout from 4:30 to 5:30. At 5:30, I'm going to try to go to yoga. And then by 6:30, someone's going to put the sweet potatoes in. Like, that is our life. Like, we're really good at now incorporating like check-in time and time for us and hugs and stuff. We're still not great at it, but like, if you don't prioritize your relationship because you're spread too thin, it will start to look purely logistical, because we're talking about what it looks like, right?
It's so interesting.
Hold on. Partners feeling like teammates, emotional, physical intimacy fading, resentment and feelings of loneliness happening. Now communication becomes purely logistical, and now conflict rises out of nothing because connection is missing. It just like people will come in and they will have the stupidest arguments.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's really about that at all. It's because they are not connected, because they have been spread too thin. And like you said, the invisible workload hasn't even been discussed.
I mean, I think like such a huge point of it is like, if you're spread too thin, you cease to see your partner, and we really want to be seen by
That's what feels so good when we first like get together. I'm like, oh my God, he like notices my outfits and my cute little toenail color.
Yellow.
Well, because I just got them done yesterday. I actually don't like yellow, but and so we'll recap this before we go into like reclaiming your relationship.
Yeah. Well, I just have like a funny little story, because like about like wanting to be seen, and then the busyness of it, like, because it's like, so I work out in the garage now. My weights are out there, and like there's this part of me. Yeah, thank you, Philip Pape. Exactly. So Tara, in the midst of like the coming and going, I'll be coming from work. I'll try to work out real quick before I take somebody to basketball. Tara will come to go get her stuff on before she goes to yoga. And I'm always like wanting you to see me like, and be like, oh, looks like you're really lifting. You're really, you're bench pressing more. Like I noticed, and I'm always like, hey, can you see me out here?
I didn't know
and
that
it's just
until
funny,
just
but we're
now.
so busy that like,
I know,
because I'm always like, I got a PR on my shoulder presses today, Tara.
See, now that you told me that, I'm going to be way more aware.
Yes, it's funny.
So, but here's the sad piece. I feel like people are trying their hardest, right? So if you're listening to this and it's like, God, I try really hard. We're just spread too thin, and we start to prioritize things that aren't as important first, and we can help you get back to that prioritization of your intimate relationship, because the hidden costs are too much. It's like long-term relationship satisfaction goes down. Now your relationship is way more vulnerable to like infidelity, right? Because needs aren't being met. People are feeling lonely. Emotional affairs, those micro cheating that you hear about nowadays. You have tons and tons of missed moments of emotional attunement. Like had EJ just said that thing about the PR, like I know how to attune, right? And it's because we're doing this podcast. How many people listening are also doing a podcast with their husband to talk about healthy relationship skills? Not a lot, right? So we are compelled to do it because we speak it and we preach it, but the hidden cost is just like, and our kids modeling disconnection when they become adults, like it's just normal to them. So the hidden costs are too much. So if you're listening to this, like and we're going to give you some questions, we're going to give you some action steps at the end of the podcast, because it's really important to just start to even look at how can I switch this up a little? Well, I think the biggest hidden cost of being spread too thin
is that what is special about our relationship is that like that unique connection that I have with you, Tara, that thing of like we get to notice little things about each other and we get to express like love in a really fun, playful way. And we get to touch one another and we get to look in each other's eyes and give each other's kisses. Those things disappear. Yeah. What's special about you and I disappears on the weeks where we're spread too thin. And really, I think what we're going to talk about is like, I don't know how, it's not like we stop being as busy as we are. No. But the next thing is we're talking about how do you reclaim it is you become more intentional. Is it you make sure your connection with your partner is still a priority.
Yeah. So, I mean, so let's go there, right? Because we've talked about why it happens. We talk about how it happens. It's nobody's fault. We've talked about what it looks like in relationship, right? Feeling just like roommates, teammates, like losing that special, like intimate connection with your person that you chose to be with long-term, and the hidden costs behind it, right? It's like, if you're listening to this, it's like, oh, that sucks. But I think a lot of people feel like there's no way out. I know I felt that way. Like, this is it. Like, this is my life. I felt like a robot. Like, I am a robot. We decided to open up our own business. We decided to be this busy. We decided like our kids are awesome athletes. So they're in all these, but like there was this powerlessness to it. But then once we really started doing our work because we had to, and we wanted to help other couples feel connected in the midst of all of the chaos, like I've noticed when I'm spread too thin, EJ now is my respite. Like I can come to him and like melt, be like, that was too much, and he can take care of me, and vice versa. When it's too much for him, hopefully, yeah. I feel like you're respite, and we keep getting better at it. Our lives we are in the thick of it right now.
Yeah.
Like, but it's going to be okay because I also know we're both trying to be intentional, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is it right there. That is the word is that the way in which to make a shift around this is getting really intentional, because it's probably not going to be like, well, we're just like moving to Idaho and starting a farm. And because even that would probably be really intense and you become spread too thin. It's that we've become really intentional about the fact that we're like in this together. Like we made all of these choices together. Like we decided to get married. We decided to blend these families. We decided to
We didn't decide on the twins, but that's okay.
We decided to have a baby that just, we ended up multiplied it by 2. We decided to start this business when we were, when we went through a shift in our careers, and we decided to expand it. We decided to do this podcast. So we decided all these things together. So then let's get more intentional.
We can decide now.
Yeah. We can decide now that our relationship is still a huge priority in the midst of it.
And as you guys hear us talk, like it's not a huge change. Like we're going to give you these very realistic things that you can do with your partner, right? It's like, so being intentional. So like little moments of micro connection throughout the day, whether it's like 2 minutes of hugging or eye contact or a 10-minute cuddle. You can have these like moments of micro connection, even a text like I love you that takes like less than 5 seconds, right? One of the first things we have our couples do, like when they start couples counseling, is they start doing like 5-10-minute emotional check-ins every day, and then a weekly check-in at the end of the week. Like that is so powerful. It's like 5 minutes. How are you? How are you? And they create these like little moments of connection, right? So that's one way of doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a huge way. Like that's an important thing for us to really slow down and talk about, is like, you got to figure out a time in the day, especially hopefully early in the day.
Yeah.
It can be like once both people are into their work day and the kids are at school, or you've got your morning going, where you're like, okay, we're going to take 5 minutes and we're going to call each other, or right before I walk out the door, we're going to sit down. Like we can spare 5 minutes. Our relationship is worth 5 minutes, because then we also know like how we're both going into the day. If Tara, we stop and we connect, and we did this a little bit this morning. Of Tara was just like, I'm just really anxious about this, about this kid, about our
you
kid,
called
about
me
our
because
son.
we didn't have time to check in face to face, so you called me.
Yeah, and it was just like, and I was like, and she was like, I really wasn't trying to be mean. I was like, no, I don't think you were being mean. I really appreciate that, and so it was just like getting together about it. And you can do this. You can make this time. And I think this leads really well into the next one, which is we have to be aware of everywhere we're saying yes.
Yeah.
All the other things we're saying yes to. Because I love this. I heard this on a podcast.
Reassess your yes.
Yeah. I heard this on a podcast earlier this week, is every time you say yes to something outside your relationship, you're saying no to something inside of your relationship. Every other thing you take on outside of your home, somebody in your home is losing time with you. And so that is so if I'm saying yes to, even something like saying yes to calling my parents every morning, right? Like, because that's important to them. But I need to know that sometimes I need to say no, because I needed this morning to circle back to Tara because we hadn't had a chance to really connect, right?
Oh, I love that. Like, reassess your yes to see what's costing your relationship. And like, I didn't even know you did that until now. So even those like little moments of, like, oh, I usually call my parents, but I didn't get to have that check-in with Tara today. So see, even knowing that you did that makes me feel really special.
Because you're more important. You are the most important.
And you can
thing.
Reassess your yes throughout the day too, just saying.
Yeah, you say yes to a business, lunch, or you say yes to helping a friend do this on the weekend. It's just like, yeah, it is good to help those people, but if the consequence is that you're habitually saying no to your partner, bad.
Start saying no more to make room for your partnership.
Mm-hmm.
But don't feel bad for like, I say yes to yoga because I know that I'm a better partner because of yoga for you.
Well, yeah, but if your yes is something that like, if I say yes to this, if I say yes to my workout, I'm going to be less stressed and then more present for Tara later.
Then utilize it.
Then that's a good yes.
All right. So another big one is, this is going to be a hard one. Tech boundaries.
Tara loves a good
technology boundaries. Oh, I feel so powerless over it in our house, but at least I get to talk
How do you really feel?
Really powerless about it in our house. But at least I have a voice and I can say it would be really important for none of us. So you and I, we have like a thing, and this is kind of like, I did some research around this, like within intimate relationships, put your phone down in the car, at the table. This is the hardest one, and in bed. Like if you can make, and maybe it's not in bed, maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like 5 minutes before you guys fall asleep, right? But start having some boundaries around tech. I just an example. So I have this one couple and they go out, they're really good. They go out to dinner like every other week. They make that time for them. Like this was early on in their relationship. Well, she didn't really have a voice. She kind of was like the people pleaser in the relationship. So she's like, and he was a really busy guy. She'd be like, oh, well, he's like, we go out to dinner and he's agreed to that, but he's still like always on his phone. And I'm like, well, have you set a boundary? And she's like, well, no, doesn't he just know to like,
to not be on his phone?
And I'm like, no, this is what he does. He's like a workaholic. So even if he's saying yes to dinner and you're not setting a boundary, like he's going to be on his phone. And it took her like many different times of going out and she was starting to build resentment. I'm like, you've got to give him a chance to at least say yes or no. And so all she said, I said, let's start small. She's like, would you be willing to set down your phone for the first half of dinner? I know you're really busy. It would mean so much to me just for the first half. And now, I mean, this is 2 years later, but now they have full-on dinners with each other. And the boundary is no phone. Sometimes they even leave it in the car. You know what I mean? But it's like, it has like, she feels so grateful for that hour at a restaurant every week or every other week, whenever it is.
Yeah.
So boundaries, it's important, but it's also really important to like state the boundary in a way that's hearable because it's about being together and present with each other. Like that's kind of flattering, right?
Well, and it comes back to intentionality is that the phone takes our attention away. And if we have a time that we're supposed to be with our partner and we're looking at a phone, we're not with our partner.
EJ, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but how many times do we go out to dinner and I'll say, EJ, just look around?
Yeah.
I say, look around. It makes my heart so sad. You look around. I do this. If you go out to dinner tonight or you're even at waiting in line at lunch or something, like look and see how many people are actually talking to each other versus on their phone. It's really sad. And we live near the University of Arizona in Tucson. And so it's like college students, of course, are on their phone. But they are crossing the street, like intersections, looking at their phone. And I'm like, what if you get ran over by a car? So now I'm always to my children, like, you cannot look at your phone when you're crossing the street. Anyway, so
being aware of the way like your phone might be spreading you even more thin.
Sorry, I think on like a rant.
This is a really great one. It comes back to the checking in, but it's just finding consistent rituals of connection where you're intentionally together. And I feel like we've organically built a little bit of a bookend in our life with this, which is outside of the verbal, check-in thing, is that we are spending a little bit of time in the morning snuggling, like when we both wake up. Mm-hmm. And then we say a little prayer together at the end of the night.
We do. And you bring me my coffee first.
And I always bring you your coffee, which I think makes sends like this message from the very beginning. You're more important than
your shower,
than the shower, than the dogs getting fed.
That's the most important. Know that you're thinking of me first. I guess these little things, right? Micro connections that start to build emotional connection, which then builds physical intimate connection and trust, so that when you are spread too thin, your person is a respite, not another cause of like, oh, they just need more attention from me now.
And I definitely think because we've been really open about like our like sort of like rebuilding our intimate relationship through talking about it on the show, is like, I think that all of those things have really contributed to us having more intimate connection and feeling more intimately connected is like, because it is a reminder to me when I make that coffee every morning, it begins my day telling myself like, Tara is the most important. And then I think you get that message. You always smile, even if I'm like chasing you around the house with a coffee, be like, Tara, have your coffee.
I just
Would you please take it for me?
And another, this is actually kind of research based, but it's like called the 15-minute rule. If you can just find 15 minutes of presence with your partner, it can change the emotional tone of your relationship very quickly. A 15-minute. I mean, I would love if you and I could do our like 15-minute meditations in the morning. We're going to get to that one day. Oh, we will. And I just wanted to share, there's not even one or two examples. Like all of our couples that go through our relationship renovation model, whether it's the at home or in office, like we have heard from so many couples, we have seen just the emotional check-ins daily are so powerful. And then when they miss one, they're like, oh gosh, we missed it today and now we're totally off. We're off kilter. Just that 5-minute, 10-minute connection, they forget it. And then it's like, oh gosh. And so just the connections, like I can't tell you, we have 10 therapists at our center. They will tell you the same thing. These emotional check-ins are huge. It's how are you feeling? What is your intention for the day? What is a positive relationship statement about us? Bam, over coffee.
I feel like for us, like that was essential in like the time where we were really struggling to stay connected.
Yeah.
And where we weren't having these like organic like that, because that like that little bit of cuddling that we do in the morning now is sort of developed organically, right? But there were years where we were so stressed and there was so much going on and we were both kind of figuring out our own stuff, and having those check-ins was like our like lifeline. Like it, even though they were difficult sometimes, because sometimes we were hearing and saying things that were hard, but it was like it saved us. And that's why I want to say, like, if you're a couple who's disconnected and is struggling, or you feel disconnected and your partner, you're trying to get across to them, is like, begin those daily check-ins and tell each other, like, this is going to be difficult at time, but we're just going to freaking stick with this.
And reach out if you need like the template, if you just need support. Like, we respond to so many as we can. We respond to so many listeners' emails, or even questions on social media. We get more emails than questions on the social media. I get that. But we are here to support you. And so as you're listening, here are some reflective questions as you sit here listening to my voice that some people love and some people hate.
I love it.
One is, when do we feel the most connected? So think about your relationship, or if you're single, think about past relationships. Like, when do you feel most connected to your partner? What's one thing that we can let go of this week to make room for us?
Yeah,
question
let go
number 2.
Is there something, clarify that for people. One thing we can let go of. What do you mean by that?
So if you're going to have reflective questions with your partner, right? Like, so one is, when do we feel most connected? Oh, let's talk about that too. Is there one thing we can let go of this week that would make room for us? So let's just say like tonight, I mean, I know I'm going to have some time with you after, but we're going to the bracket club to hang out with our friends and play pickleball and be with our kids. If we were like, hey, is that something we could let go of to maybe just have a date night? We could do that. Like, what is something that's
what
realistic?
is something that keeps us busy, that keeps us from disconnecting, from connecting? Can we let go of that thing and instead use it as a time for connection?
And here's my favorite one, and I love the wording of this, is like, how can we protect 15 minutes a day for us to be present? Yeah. Protecting 15 minutes a day to protect your relationships. That's not a big ask. I ask that of each other. How can we protect 15 minutes a day? And what 15 minutes works really great for us?
Yeah. And then how can we fill it with something that feels kind of nice and connected?
Yeah, maybe it's just being together and just like no phone, no nothing, whatever. So anyway, in closing, right, we've reflected on just spread too thin. Many couples are navigating this, and we're saying, like, we're not asking you to change your lives, but we're asking you to be more intentional, to make these little micro connections throughout the day, because we really deserve to be seen and feel special no matter how long we've been together, no matter how busy we are, no matter how many responsibilities we have. Like, we deserve to feel like, oh yes, I do exist. I am seen, I am loved, and I am special.
Yeah. And I think it's like so important when you go back to your partner to talk to them about this spread too thin, that it's easy for us to frame it or for us to hear it in a way that somebody's doing something wrong. And just using those like plural pronouns, we, us, of like, we're spread really thin. Because it's nice, because then it's almost I'm acknowledging that it's not like you're doing something wrong, Tara, and that's why I'm not getting what I need right now. It's that we just are so busy, and there's so much, and we're both working so hard, and we're both so dedicated to these things. And it feels like there's a cost to it. And it feels like we got to find some space for one another, because what we want is, we want that space also to be really quality. And it might take a second. You might have to create the space before you learn how to use the space, right? And when they use the space, you're going back to one of our podcast episodes, like things around emotional safety, around all the different types of intimacy, right? Is because then because if we don't even have the space, what's the chances we're going to build a really robust, intimate relationship with emotional, physical, spiritual, intellectual, all those different types of intimacy? So the first thing we're saying is, let's make the intentional effort to create space.
To create space and talk about it with each other in a really great way, because our relationship deserves this. Like, we deserve to not put us last. Yeah. So thank you for listening. We always, again, try to choose one thing to implement this week to make it different, whether you're going to incorporate check-ins or little micro connections throughout the day, or just ask those 3 questions. When do we feel most connected? What's one thing we can let go of this week? And how can we protect 15 minutes a day? And then we want to, like, if you know somebody, we love when you share our episodes. Like, oh, I think this, I'm not spread too thin, but I know my best friend is.
Yeah, give us 5 stars. Give us a review.
You can't say give us 5 stars.
Just give it to us. What the hell? How hard is it? And another way to take care of yourself, another way to get out of that spread too thin, is to check out our relationship renovation at home. It is an amazing way for you to have a structured way to create time for you and your partner, and know how to fill that time and do it in a way where you're going to learn about each other. You're going to personally grow, and you're going to cultivate the things in your relationship. You're going to create really goals that you move towards together, and we're going to help you get there. So check that out. It's on our website. You can go to our online programs. There's a free download. You can check it out and see if it works for you.
And then just, again, we always love hearing from you, even whether it's on our social media or emailing us. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for our audience. I'm so grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you, Tara.
And as always, we deserve amazing love. So take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.